Welcome to Starter Pack. Today we're going to dive into how to optimize your JSON API response. This is something that every developer needs to know because hopefully you're building some great REST APIs using JSON. So let's dive into this today because everybody can use some optimization tips here. All right, we're going to go through some JSON optimization tips. Now, JSON, as you all know, stands for JavaScript Object Notation, and it's a lightweight format for storing and transporting data, often used when data is sent from a server to a web page. So, in my experience, I've found that oftentimes these API responses are very slow. So, optimizing these is a huge way to speed up your application. Now, what is JSON? Let me move my head here so you can see what we're talking about here. So what is JSON? It stands for JavaScript Object Notation. It's a lightweight format for storing and transporting data, often used when data is sent from a server to a web page. So in this, we're going to explain some easy tips to improve the performance of any API that it works with JSON response, which is quite a few different APIs. Now, one of the big optimization tips is to minimize the data size using short and descriptive keys with camelCase. And we're going to go over all of these with code because every time here on these programming here at Starter Pack, we love to train software developers in our licensed coding boot camps. So make sure you pull down the code samples that we're going to have in the links down below. Make sure you go and check those out. Now, also, you want to abbreviate when possible without sacrificing clarity. This helps to just simply send fewer characters across the wire. Also, you want to use arrays wisely, minimizing nesting and avoiding deeply nested arrays as they can increase the complexity of parsing and traversing JSON. So these are all ways to optimize the response. And we're going to, again, show all this in code here in just 1 second. Let's run through what we're going to go over. We're going to optimize number representations using integers when possible instead of strings. Strings are just more expensive than integers. We're going to remove redundancies, avoiding repetitive data. We're going to use compression algorithms such as gzip or broadly. We're going to use server-side caching with specific TTLs for any endpoint group. So those are the things we're going to go over in code. And as always, let's go ahead and dive into the code now. Now, again, make sure you go and pull down all these code samples because we have hundreds of code samples, all these code samples completely for free. So grab that link down below and check this out because you can run these code samples that we're going to run right here for you. All right, so let's jump into this code starting right off, and we're going to go through each of this code line by line as we work through these today. Let's dig through this. Now, as always, these are always runnable samples, so you're welcome to just download them, hit the play in Visual Studios, and you'll be off and running. But we're going to go through some of these here today. So, first one here is in this JSON optimization.json, right? Your HTTP file is what's going to run the first time you load this up. But we want to go through some of these optimizations. So the very first thing here is you want to work on this is inefficient with underscore, right? So we want to minimize the data usage with short and descriptive camelCase. So if you use camelCase, it's just even one less character, and every character counts. Now, I know you're going to say in modern days like today, that's not going to make that big of a difference. But if you're trying to squeeze every piece of performance out, that makes a big difference. So we definitely want to go with shortest names that can still be descriptive. So you notice we didn't say first because it could be first, I don't know, first anything. So we want to say first name and last name. Now next, abbreviate when it's possible without sacrificing clarity. So again, application version could be app version, right? And this is more efficient and just a lot less characters that we see overall. So that's the second one, is abbreviating when possible without sacrificing clarity. Now, you want to use arrays wisely when minimizing nesting and avoiding deeply nested arrays, as they can increase the complexity of parsing and traversing JSON. So this is inefficient to use, to use a nested array here. We can just as efficiently say product colors, right, and give red, green, and blue. And in this, you know that this is at index 1, index 2, index 3, and so we've avoided using a nested array. Now, again, sometimes, readability versus complexity, and especially where you're balancing performance or not, but this video is about efficiency and performance, so we're talking about optimizing performance. You can clearly see this bottom one is going to be much more efficient to use array versus a nested set of objects. All right, next one, optimize number representation, right? So this is inefficient because you're using a floating point. So it has to actually represent as a floating point. It would also be more inefficient if you were to treat this as a string. Doing this way as an integer allows you to treat this, and you can still convert it along the way. And then all you have to do is multiply it by 100 on either side, and you've made these or this JSON. Again, this is optimizing JSON, so you got to look at overall performance. Topic of the video is optimizing JSON, right? Next one, remove redundancies and avoid repetitive data. So instead of saying product 1, name product A, right? You can product 2, right? The efficient one is say create a product object, right? And then for each of those, just do name, product A, and price, right? And so this is going to allow you to avoid that redundancy and allow you to use objects efficiently. So again, there's a balance between this and nested arrays, but at the same time, using objects and avoiding repetitive, phrases. I see a lot of objects that come over that'll be product underscore name, product underscore price. Well, if it's a product object, then you don't really need to say product underscore name, right? So when possible and when it makes sense and can still keep clarity, avoid these kind of redundancies. Now, some other things on the C# side, right, is, use cache data, right? This can make a big difference if you're using cache data. So this is saying that cache is not, so it's fetched from the source, and this is data to be cached. So we want to, use and make sure that we're doing these as efficiently as possible. So if I run this example here, you'll be able to see the optimization and to see the differences. So let's pull that over here. We're going to pull our Swagger over here, and we'll be able to execute this because all these code samples we give you run, right? So this is the data to be cached, right? So caching data can make a huge difference when you're optimizing your JSON values inside of an API. So those are just a few little tips and tricks. We like to keep these videos short and right to the point. So make sure that you pull down those code samples, because optimizing those or getting to those code samples is a huge help when you are working with these. So make sure you grab that link down below. Also, make sure you sign up here at Startup Hack. We love to train software developers in our licensed coding boot camps, as well as to build custom software solutions for companies. So reach out, because we'd like to help. We'd always love to help. Here, we're also taking applications now for those who would like to go in and join the coding boot camp in a way that can be fully, entirely covered. So it would be free to you. So make sure you check out startuphack.com or reach out to us. It's info@startuphack.com, and we will catch you guys next time. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel, because we bring you lots of great tutorials and tips that every developer should know. See you next time.